Earth.org reports that the average American family throws away a whopping 81 pounds of clothing every single year. Multiply that by every family, and you have millions of tons of garbage a year, just from clothes. This is only worse than the significant climate issue present in America and the world. Fast fashion is an industry that not only encourages this waste, but actively capitalizes on and profits from it. Merriam-Webster defines fast fashion as an approach to the design, creation, and marketing of clothing fashions that emphasizes making fashion trends quickly and cheaply available to customers. This means that people buy hauls of clothes for cheap through each fad cycle, then simply trashes them when they go out of style. This is a very harmful industry as it damages the environment and exploits cheap labor, and therefore it is a necessity that it be regulated and taxed. Fast fashion has a massive environmental impact that is not only significantly harmful to the planet, but it's also not worth the cost. Brands such as Zara, Shine, and more deliberately cut corners to make cheap clothes that wear out quickly. These clothes are made to be thrown away just as quickly as the trends that they are created for, and Vox reports that Zara and H&M release new collections bi-weekly, meaning that demand is incredibly fast and requires a lot of supply to keep up with this demand. According to the UN Environment Program, a single pair of jeans requires around 2,000 gallons of water to create, which leads to billions of cubic meters used yearly just for fast fashion. Additionally, Earth.org states that fashion contributes to 10% of global carbon emissions and the same percentage of microplastic contribution, 10%, and it causes even more environmental issues. Overall, fast fashion brings massive disruption and damage to the environment for cheap clothes that don't even last or provide any long-term sustainable clothing. Not only does fast fashion exploit and harm the environment, but it exploits the very workers who make the clothes. Most of the fast fashion is made in sweatshops in third world countries such as Bangladesh. Here, these large corporations can pay ridiculously low wages while expecting work and hours that are just as ridiculous. Not only that, but as they are more exploitable, women and children are often the main workers at these sweatshops, putting themselves in danger as there's little workplace safety and terrible workplace conditions. Business Insider claims that, among other things, the workers get less than $3 daily, that's the entire day worth of pay, to provide the clothes that we buy for $5 or $10. This is a massive profit for the business, but it is incredibly unfair to the workers as they are making less than pennies off the dollar. Regardless, not only do the workers face dangers and exploitation, but the surrounding area does as well. Greenpeace found that chemicals from these clothes can leak into the waterways in the nearby area. This can become very hazardous very quickly and directly harm the ecosystems and human population of the region, further harming the country. However, there is a solution to bypass all these issues with the fast fashion industry. A tax, for example, would not only help discourage fast fashion by making it less cheap and less affordable, but it would also help improve the American economy. With this tax, the government could do things such as help invest in more environmental actions or do things that can help find more sustainable clothing through research or other actions. Also, with the increased costs, people may be more willing to go back to clothes that last rather than cheap, easily replaceable clothing. A tax on these brands could also help encourage a shift to sustainability as these brands are forced to reconsider their business model, or people are forced to reconsider what kind of clothes they choose to buy. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation, for example, also supports implementing policies that would encourage recycling and reusing these clothes. This would help slow down the waste and keep clothes in circulation for much longer. Policies such as these that enforce and encourage more recycling and reusing, such as requiring a certain amount of fast fashion clothes to be recycled clothing or recycled use, could maybe massively beneficial to the environment and other issues. Regardless of what exact policy or step is taken, a tax or regulation of fast fashion would help slow down the wasteful process, encourage a return to sustainable clothing, or help fund efforts to manage the harmful effects. Essentially, any of these steps would be a step in the right direction and would help change things massively for the better. Essentially, fast fashion is a deeply harmful industry that capitalizes on rapidly changing trends to make significant profits. Fast fashion contributes to water waste, large amounts of global carbon dioxide and microplastic production, and generates millions of tons of waste yearly, both in landfills and in water. Not only that, but it also exploits workers in poor nations, paying them incredibly small wages to keep profits very high, and poisons the local community. For example, the documentary The True Cost shows just how deeply fast fashion harms real people, from factory workers and factory dangers to poverty and toxic waste. While all of these issues may make fast fashion seem like a wealthy, insurmountable issue that there's no way to surpass, there are a variety of policies that may offer themselves as incredibly useful solutions which may help offset many of these difficult issues and problems. The government may impose a tax, gaining from the profits to help solve some root issues of the problem, institute policies to encourage sustainability or require higher wages, or even directly limit the sale of fast fashion or the destruction of unsold clothes so that it may last longer and so that clothing as a whole can last longer. Though fast fashion may be cheap, it is important to consider who really pays the price in these transactions and in this world. Thank you.